Welcome to the Depth Dive, the show where we basically take a whole load of information, sort through it, and give you the absolute best bits.
That's the plan.
Today, we're diving into a city that's just constantly buzzing, always changing, incredibly diverse. Shenzhen, China.
A fascinating place.
Yeah. So if you're thinking about spending time there, maybe a business trip, maybe a longer expat thing, or you're just curious, figuring out where to live or work or even just explore, it can feel a bit much, right?
It absolutely can, yeah. And that's exactly why we've put this deep dive together for you.
Yeah.
We've looked at comprehensive guides on Shenzhen's neighborhoods.
Okay.
Sources specifically aimed at helping business travelers, expats, find good places to stay.
Right.
Whether it's for like a day, a week, or even a month.
Right. Useful stuff.
But our mission today is really to boil those insights down, help you figure out what each area actually offers, what kind of vibe it has, and, well, ultimately, where you might fit in best.
Sounds good.
We'll cover pretty much everything. Busy city centers, more relaxed green areas, even some surprising beach towns. Okay, let's get into it.
All right. Let's start our journey, maybe somewhere obvious. A place that instantly comes up when you hear expat community in Shenzhen, Shekou. It's
Yep.
often called the expat soft landing.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
So what makes Shekou such a magnet? And maybe is that comfort a bit of a double-edged sword?
Well, Shekou, it's tucked within the Nanshan district, and it really does have its own distinct character. It's famous, really, for having one of Shenzhen's biggest expat communities.
Okay.
And that's partly because it's almost like designed to make that transition easier. You find loads of residential complexes, right, with perks like gardens, swimming pools, gyms.
Familiar stuff?
Exactly. Familiar stuff. And for families, it's a huge draw, mostly because there are several international schools clustered there. Makes the whole school-run thing a bit less of a headache.
Ah, convenience.
Big time. And the social scene.
Yeah.
Plenty of restaurants, pubs, bars, often Western style. So, yeah, it's comfortable, it's convenient, built for newcomers.
That sounds incredibly appealing, yeah, especially if you're just arriving. But you mentioned a double-edged sword. Is it fair to say it can become a bit of an expat bubble?
Yeah.
And if so, how much effort does it actually take to break out of that comfort zone and, experience the rest of Shenzhen?
It is a fair assessment, I think.
Yeah.
While that comfort and familiarity are massive draws, they can also, well, lead to a bit of isolation.
Right.
If your goal is to really dive into the real Shenzhen, local culture, the day-to-day rhythm,
Mm-hmm.
you absolutely have to make a conscious effort to get out of Shekou.
You won't just stumble upon it there.
Pretty much. Otherwise, it's just too easy to get stuck in a routine with familiar faces, familiar food, and you end up missing out on the city's huge diversity. So it's a choice, really.
Yeah.
Ease in transition versus deeper cultural immersion.
That puts it perfectly. Okay, moving from Shekou's sort of focused community feel, I'm really curious about Nanshan, often called Shenzhen's Garden District.
Ah, yes, Nanshan.
What really sets Nanshan apart? Especially for families, maybe, or people who really value quality of life.
Nanshan definitely lives up to that reputation. It's known for its cleaner environment and just an abundance of green spaces, parks, trees, that sort of thing,
Nice.
which is exactly why it draws such a big expat community alongside locals who are looking for that higher quality of life. For families, especially those with kids in international schools nearby, it's a top choice. It offers really high-quality apartments, even luxury serviced ones.
So it's more than just housing.
Yeah, it's more of a lifestyle choice,
Yeah.
emphasizing space, outdoor access, a bit of a quieter pace, but without feeling, totally cut off.
Okay, so it sounds like a premium lifestyle. Does that mean a premium price tag? And what about getting around? Is it well connected from such a green area?
It does mean a premium price tag, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Nanshan is definitely pricier than some other districts. But, many people feel the benefits, the parks, the modern amenities, the clean air.
Yeah,
They feel it's worth the cost.
right.
And connectivity is actually pretty good. Getting around is usually a breeze. You've got accessible metro lines, buses, taxis are easy to find.
Okay.
The main warning, of course, is Shenzhen's legendary rush hour. That can get pretty hectic like anywhere else.
Standard big city problem.
Exactly. Oh, and there's also a ferry terminal there, which is handy for quick trips over to Hong Kong. Adds another layer of convenience.
Good point. Okay, moving from Nanshan's green spaces, we find something really quite unique in Shenzhen. Overseas Chinese Town, or OCT.
Ah, OCT.
It sounds like such a direct translation, doesn't it? But what's the story behind this place? It feels quite planned.
It is a direct translation, yeah. And the story is interesting. It was basically the brainchild of some wealthy property developers.
Uh-huh.
Their aim was to create a community with more sort of Western feel, almost like a resort inside the city.
Okay, interesting.
What immediately sets it apart is it's one of the few areas in Shenzhen that actually has decent walking and cycling paths. It's quite rare in such a rapidly built city.
Cool. Wow.
Yeah, it's a place really built for leisure, for aesthetics, and it's right on a main metro line too, so access is excellent despite its unique design.
So it's all about intentional design and a certain maybe upscale feel. Who does that attract? And are there any like iconic things that define OCT?
Well, given its upscale residences and, yeah, the higher price tag, you'll find mostly well-to-do locals living there. Though expats looking for that specific high-quality lifestyle are drawn to it too.
Makes sense.
The area itself is gorgeous, loads of trees, parks nearby, and some seriously good restaurants. And if you're lucky with your apartment floor, you might even get a cracking view of Hong Kong across the bay.
Wow, okay.
A famous landmark is Windows of the World, the theme park with miniature global landmarks.
Ah, yeah, I've heard of that.
They apparently have some kind of show with fireworks every night.
Yeah.
But really, the main appeal of OCT comes down to how clean it is, the amazing food scene, and those views. It's a distinct choice if you prioritize that kind of deliberate urban design and refined environment.
Right. Okay, if you're looking for the absolute pulse of Shenzhen, the real engine room, we have to talk about Futian.
Dude,
It's not just a business hub. It feels like a symbol of that Shenzhen speed. What defines its sort of relentless modern pulse, and who really thrives there?
Futian is, without a doubt, the heart of Shenzhen. It's the main business and administrative district. Simple as that.
Right.
When you step into Futian, you immediately get that fast-paced, super modern vibe. It's where you find some of China's tallest buildings. They really dominate the skyline, embodying that vertical ambition. You feel the economic engine running at full speed.
Okay. So given that sort of powerful career-focused energy, is Futian aimed more at a specific group of people?
I'd say so, yeah.
And for those who are drawn to that intensity, what are the trade-offs they might be making? Besides just the rent, I mean.
You're right. It definitely attracts a certain demographic.
Yeah.
It's one of the more expensive areas to live. And it's stylish, modern apartments. They're incredibly popular with young professionals.
Okay.
It's probably not the best fit for families, generally. Family-sized places are harder to find, really pricey, and there's just not as much green space compared to, say, Nanshan.
Right, the trade-off.
Exactly. But what it lacks in parks, it definitely makes up for with a pretty exciting nightlife. Loads of bars, cafes, restaurants, huge shopping centers.
So plenty to do.
Absolutely. The main compromise, as you hinted, is probably the traffic. Rush hour can be a nightmare, but the public transport options are excellent, which helps a lot. So yeah, it's not for everyone, but if you thrive in that busy, modern environment, Futian could be a great fit.
Okay. Now, let's switch gears a bit. Let's turn to Luohu. It offers a different kind of city experience, right? A blend of Shenzhen's past and present. Luohu. If Futian is all about Shenzhen speed, what unique mix does Luohu represent? Maybe for someone looking for a more, I don't know, authentic, urban feel.
Luohu is one of Shenzhen's oldest districts. It was the original downtown, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it started as a fishing village, believe it or not, before it transformed into this major hub for trade and finance. So living there, you're experiencing this really fascinating blend of the city's history, its culture as it evolved, and modern life all mixed together.
So it feels different from the newer areas.
Definitely. Unlike the super new, shiny districts, Luohu feels more rooted, maybe more familiar if you're used to older Chinese cities. There's a real palpable sense of daily life, commerce happening right there on the streets.
And what about shopping or nightlife? Does its history mean it's cheaper or more expensive?
Ah, shopping. It's an absolute paradise if you love to shop. You can find everything. Luxury brands, sure, but also fascinating antiques, local markets, a real mix.
Sounds good.
And when the sun goes down, Luohu really comes alive. It's famous for its nightlife. Bars, karaoke lounges, nightclubs. It's always buzzing.
Always something happening.
Pretty much. And if you do need a nature break, you're not totally cut off. You've got places like Wutong Mountain, some scenic rivers within reasonable reach.
Okay, and the cost?
Generally, housing is more affordable than in, say, Nanshan or Futian. The catches apartments tend to be a bit smaller, maybe a bit older. But yeah, it's a solid choice if you want to be right in the heart of the action without completely breaking the bank.
Right. Okay, we've seen modern, we've seen historic. Now, what about something really unique, almost unexpected? Let's talk about Huanggang.
Ah, Huanggang.
Yes. It seems to have this surprising connection, almost like a cultural crossroads with Hong Kong nearby.
It's a really interesting spot, yeah. Tucked away in Futian, actually. But it has this vibe that's unlike anywhere else in mainland China.
How so?
Its unique character comes directly from being so close to the Futian border crossing. It makes it super easy to just hop over to Hong Kong.
Ah, the border proximity.
Exactly. And that ease of access has, over time, created this really fascinating cultural fusion.
So it's not just a place near the border, it's like a blend. A mini Hong Kong within Shenzhen.
Exactly. That's a great way to think about it. Shenzhen's unexpected cultural crossroads, it's like a little slice of Hong Kong culture right there.
Wow.
Craving authentic cha shao fun at midnight, loads of Hong Kong diners are open. Looking for a late-night massage, a specific kind of shop, Huanggang often delivers.
So it's popular with Hong Kongers too.
Very popular. Many Hong Kong residents use it frequently. Some even have second homes there. It really is a bit of a hidden gem, lively, incredibly convenient for cross-border stuff, and it gives you a glimpse into a really distinct side of Shenzhen's identity.
Fascinating. Okay, from that cross-border vibe, it's easy to forget Shenzhen also has a coastline.
Right. The beaches.
Yeah. For those dreaming of maybe a quieter pace, Dalmatia sounds like the escape. But what's the trade-off for that sea air?
Dalmatia's biggest draw is, well, it's right on the beach, no question.
Can't beat that.
It's located further east than most of Shenzhen's main hubs, which, as we mentioned, often means it's more affordable. Living there really feels like being in a proper beach town,
Yeah.
a total contrast to the city center.
Yeah.
So if you're after a quieter life, sea air, sound of waves, it could be fantastic. And if the main beach gets too packed, there are other, more secluded spots, just a short bus right away.
That coastal quiet sounds really nice. But that distance you mentioned, does that become a big factor in daily life? Especially if you still need to get into the city core.
It certainly can.
Yeah.
The distance is the main trade-off. If your work, or maybe your social life, is mostly in central Shenzhen, that commute can be pretty substantial.
Right.
Relying on public transport will definitely add a good chunk of time to your day. And while the beach itself is lovely, it does get very, very crowded, especially weekends and holidays. So it's a clear choice.
Yeah.
City convenience versus that undeniable beach life charm.
Makes sense. Okay, just next to Dalmatia is Yantian, another coastal district.
Hmm?
What's the scene like there? Is it similar, more beach town, or does it have a different feel because of its port activities?
Yantian definitely offers a different vibe compared to the bustling city center. It's not purely a beach town. It's more of a mix of port activity and growing tourism. It really showcases Shenzhen's importance as a maritime hub.
Okay, so a working coast.
Exactly. You'll find a mix of residential areas, significant industrial zones related to the port, but also some genuinely nice spots for a weekend getaway. It might not be as polished as Futian or Nanshan, but it has its own unique charm coming from that working port and the natural beauty around it.
What are the main draws then?
Well, the coastline itself is great for strolling. Watching the huge cargo ships come and go is quite something. And the local seafood is fantastic. It's known for scenic spots and natural beauty alongside the port bustle.
So it's where global trade meets local life. Are there any key attractions or things happening development-wise in Yantian?
Precisely. It's known for those scenic spots, and it's constantly undergoing development. New residential projects, infrastructure improvements are always being planned or built. Key attractions include Dalmatia Beach, which we just talked about. There's also Overseas Chinese Town East, OCT East, another big tourism resort complex, and, of course, Yantian Port itself.
Right, the port.
Yeah, it's one of the busiest container ports in the world. Just seeing the scale of operations there is pretty incredible.
Okay. As we move further out from the city core, we start hitting more affordable options, right?
Generally, yes.
Let's talk about Bowen. It's a large district, seems to have a bit of a mixed reputation. What should we know about this sort of developing frontier?
Bowen is definitely more affordable than central places like Futian or Nanshan. That's a major draw for a lot of people.
The main appeal.
Often, yeah.
Hmm.
However, it can feel a bit further away from the central action, and it's very diverse within the district. Some areas are quite industrial, others are seeing really rapid development, new apartment blocks going up everywhere.
So it's a bit of a mixed bag?
It really is. Living in Bowen is that classic trade-off.
Yeah.
You probably get more space for your money, but you'll likely spend more time commuting. And some areas definitely still have that work-in-progress feel.
Right. Potential versus polish and that commute time. What about amenities? Is it just industrial zones, or is there more?
Amenities vary a lot across Bowen. Some parts have great modern shopping centers and nice residential areas popping up. Others are still more basic. A really key feature, though, is that Baoan is home to Shenzhen Airport.
Ah, the airport district.
Exactly. So incredibly convenient if you travel a lot,
Mm,
especially by air. And despite the industrial side, it does have some surprisingly nice parks and green spaces too, reflecting that citywide push for greenery.
okay. And finally, way out on the edge, there's Longgang,
Longgang, yeah.
the big one.
How does this absolutely sprawling district fit into the Shenzhen picture? What kind of lifestyle does it offer if you're willing to go that far out?
Longgang is indeed way out on the edge of Shenzhen. And because it's so huge, it often feels like its own city sometimes.
Right. It offers a real mix of everything. You've got industrial areas, large residential communities, and even some surprisingly nice big parks. And yes, it's definitely the most affordable option we've discussed today. That's a significant factor.
And the lifestyle.
The lifestyle there is noticeably more relaxed. It's a quieter environment compared to the constant buzz of the city core.
So it's a definite lifestyle choice, space, peace, affordability. What's the main challenge then of choosing Longgang? And what's the big reward?
The main challenge is probably mobility. Getting around within Longgang, and especially to other parts of Shenzhen, can be a bit of a hassle without a car.
Public transport isn't great.
It's available, but it can take a while to get to places like Futian or Nanshan. So you're definitely signing up for a potentially long commute if your work or social life is centered elsewhere.
Okay.
The reward, though, is clear. Significantly more space for your money, a less frantic pace of life, and the benefit of living in a more serene environment, away from the constant hum of the central city.
Right. We've covered a lot of ground, explored all these unique neighborhood characters, expat havens, historical hubs, coastal spots.
Quite a tour.
Yeah. But beyond the specific areas, there are always those big picture questions people have when thinking about a huge city like Shenzhen. Let's tackle a couple of those. First off, just generally for our listener, is Shenzhen a safe city to live in?
Yes, generally speaking, Shenzhen is considered a very safe city. Serious crime is quite low. Most incidents you might hear about are things like minor thefts, pickpocketing, that sort of thing.
Okay, good to know.
You'll find many parts of the city feel very pleasant, very secure to live in, especially if you just take normal basic precautions.
That's reassuring. Okay, so putting it all together then. If you're a family thinking about Shenzhen, what are your top picks from our discussion?
For families, I'd say Shekou still stands out. Because of that established expat community, the international schools, all the amenities right there.
Makes sense.
Nanshan is another really strong recommendation.
Yeah.
Mainly for its clean environment, those green spaces, and the availability of high-quality, often larger apartments.
Right. And what about young professionals? Looking for that buzz, that energy?
For young professionals, Fusion is probably the ultimate choice. It's the dynamic business hub, offers that modern living, the vibrant nightlife.
The engine room.
Exactly. Luohu is also an excellent alternative, though, with his lively mix of old and new Shenzhen, great shopping, lots of diverse entertainment options, still very central.
Okay. Getting around, always a big question in a city this size. How easy is it really to navigate Shenzhen? And what's the key piece of advice for avoiding those commute headaches?
Well, Shenzhen has a really good public transport system overall. The metro network is extensive and pretty efficient. Buses are everywhere. Taxis are easy to get. So navigating is quite feasible.
Yeah.
But, and it's a big but, traffic can be incredibly heavy during rush hour.
Right.
So the crucial advice, the thing we hear again and again, is try, if possible, to live relatively close to where you work or study.
Minimize that daily travel time.
Exactly. Because if you don't plan for it, your commute could easily stretch up to, 90 minutes each way sometimes. That really eats into your day.
Yeah, definitely. And finally, just thinking about career opportunities. What's Shenzhen's reputation overall as a place for business and work? How does its special status play into that?
Shenzhen has this really significant reputation because it's a special economic zone, or SEZ.
Right.
That designation basically means it operates with more open business rules, more flexible policies compared to other parts of China. And that has been a huge driver in making it this massive center for international companies, for tech, for innovation.
It's lots of opportunity.
Absolutely. It's a city just teeming with opportunities. And while many parts are obviously intensely focused on business and development, the city also seems to consciously encourage a decent work-life balance for residents. There's a recognition that, productivity and well-being go hand in hand.
That's good to hear. Wow, what an incredible deep dive into Shenzhen's multiple personalities. It really is a city with something for just about everyone, isn't it? From that super fast heart to the quiet coast.
It really is fascinating how distinct the districts feel.
Yeah, it's amazing how a city that grew so fast can still have such different characters in different areas.
It really is. And I think the key takeaway here is just that there's no single best neighborhood. It completely depends on your priorities.
Right.
What works for one person or one family might not work for another. Shenzhen is definitely a city of choices. And, don't feel like you have to get it perfect on the first try.
Good point.
Lots of people, especially expats, tend to move around a bit once they've been there for a while and get a better feel for the place. The main thing is finding somewhere that feels right for you, at least for now, that matches your lifestyle needs.
That's great advice. So, for you, our listener, after hearing about all these different areas, all the pros and cons, the unique vibes, what aspect of city living would you prioritize most if you were starting fresh in a place like Shenzhen? Would it be the quick commute, the green spaces, that deep cultural immersion, or maybe just that perfect sea view? Something to think about.